I know that would be the joy, Joan.
Okay, and we're live, we're recording anyway. Hello and welcome everybody. Mary Murphy from Spanish Irish Business Network, SIBN, here in Madrid. Thanks for joining us today. We have our third interview with committee member Susan Bolger. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Mary. Hola. Buenas tardes.
So the idea with these interviews, readers, listeners, is to try and get to know face-to-face the people that are on the committee. Know that we're not some sort of untouchable elite people. We are just human beings here in Madrid with our own lives, because we're all volunteers. And just to try and a little bit of cercanía, a little bit of proximity with the team, and make you know that you're all very welcome and that you can join anytime, because we're here for every volunteer that wants to help. Okay, so a little bit about yourself, Susan. Where do you come from in Ireland?
So I'm a Dubliner. I'm from Dublin. Grew up close to Malahide, and that's just on the east coast. That's what I miss most, all right, about living in Madrid. It's the coast. And went to college in DIT, now it's TUD, I believe, Colborough Street, and studied tourism management. Started out my career in tourism in Dublin Airport almost 20 years ago.
Not giving anything away in ages.
Not much, yeah. And started my career then with Tourism Ireland, in New York, and then had the opportunity to come to Madrid. So Madrid has been my adopted home for the last 15 years.
15 years, okay. So you're loyal to Tourism Ireland for your whole professional career, yeah?
Very loyal. Well, that's it. Like, it's a company that I was fortunate enough to start off in a graduate placement in the States, in New York, and I've been able to grow with the company in various different roles. There in the States, and then in the Madrid office, and now I am in the fortunate position to lead our team as marketing manager. Yep.
Perfect. And you were in New York for how long?
Just a year.
Okay.
But it was wonderful. It was great. It was kind of like my first experience outside of Spain, to live abroad on your own and do all the things that you have to do. I'd never been to the States before, so thoughts and the idea of even just being in Manhattan, it was fab. Yeah, it was
very
great.
Cool. Very cool at the age of 20, nearly nothing. I'm sure it was. So you've been here for 15 years. So you're an old timer like myself. Did you have Spanish before you arrived in Madrid?
I didn't. No, well, I didn't. Truth be told. So I struggled a little bit when I first came, because I actually met my, now husband, 20 years ago as well, when I was working in Dublin Airport, a weekend away wasn't Madrid at the time, Móstoles, on the outskirts of Madrid. I met my now husband, and we spoke in English in the beginning, and our relationship blossomed, and I realized I needed to study and scrub up on my Spanish. So I did take some basic lessons. And actually, I remember my Spanish teacher at the time. So funny. I was heading off to Madrid for a summer, and she said, you just need to find now a partner and learn Spanish, learn the language I love. So I took it literally, but no, lucky to meet Carlos. And then, just did some nighttime classes. And when I was in New York, I attended Instituto Cervantes there, and rented some DVDs of Cuéntame Cómo Pasó. Some of you might know that serie. That still exists, I understand. But DVDs with subtitles helped me along the way. And then fortunately, I landed a position in the Spanish office, a temporary position, and then scrubbed up on my Spanish on the ground.
Very good. So tell us a little bit more about Tourism Ireland, because it's not actually as huge as I thought it was. And you've got a very big role here in Spain. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Tourism Ireland is the company responsible for the promotion of the island of Ireland abroad. So we do all of the marketing for Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. It was founded on the basis of the Good Friday Agreement as an all-island body. So it's very important in that regard. The
unity between the North
company.
and the South. Yeah. Okay. So does that mean who's your boss?
Yeah, so we're one company. We've two sister agencies. The boss, the big man, is Niall Gibbons, and Niall Gibbons is our CEO of Tourism Ireland. But we do work with two sister agencies, and they are Tourism Northern Ireland and Fáilte Ireland on the ground.
Okay.
So they look after the domestic campaigns, and they also look after all of the areas of the product development. And then us on the outside doing the international marketing across the globe. We look after what is all of our marketing campaigns. So making sure that Ireland is front and center of our consumers' minds to choose Ireland as a destination. And then, of course, that plugs into the whole distribution channel of the airlines, the tour operators, the travel agencies, the hotels on the ground, and the whole lot. But first of all, our big job is to compete with the destinations out there for consumers to choose the island of Ireland as the holiday destination.
I'm imagining the answer is huge. How important is Spain?
Very important. Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that question, because a lot of people don't realize how big the prize is. And obviously, we're in challenging times at the moment, but based on 2019, Spain was the fifth largest market. 431,000 Spanish visitors traveled to the island of Ireland. Like, that's phenomenal.
Including students as well, isn't it?
That's over 18.
Okay.
So I'd imagine within that there's a cohort of students.
Yeah.
But we primarily look after what is tourism, so all tourism related. And there's a breakdown of holiday makers within that, but we look at the visitors. So right now, our focus is all about regaining that position as we recover tourism to the island of Ireland after the pandemic, and indeed the current sad situation in Ukraine with the conflict, which just means consumers at the moment are on the fence, in terms of their plans for the summer. But we're doing all that we can from Team Spain. We're a team of 6 people, and we have a graduate position, we have a PR position, we have a trade development position, advertising, and all things social media. So we're Descubre Irlanda in Espanol across all the social media channels. And we have an active audience of about 500,000 Spanish who are already engaged on our channels, warmed up, who've traveled before and who are real ambassadors, real advocates, because that's the number one, inspiration. It's word of mouth. It's about, going on a trip, coming back, telling your friends and family all about it. Oh my God, I had a great time. And I love hearing those stories, from 15 years in the company, and it is always the case that Spanish come back from Ireland and say, oh my God, I ate so well. Like, the food was great.
Wasn't it?
The food will really, really surprise me, and that's, and hearing those stories. And I suppose that's the part of what is special or unique about the island of Ireland is its Céad Míle Fáilte, 100,000 welcomes. It's the people, it's that, part of a holiday experience that you don't get somewhere else. We have the castles, we fine dining, we've got great accommodation, we've got the crack, we've got the pubs, we've got the Guinness, the pints, the whole shebang. But really what it comes down to is that you've got an exceptional holiday that you come back with the stories. And isn't that what's so wonderful when Spanish people travel to Ireland and they're welcome to the local pub to have the chats and get under the skin of local communities. And look, a long way of answering your first question, Mary.
No, but it's lovely. It's nice to be passionate about what we work in. It's a joy. And
this is
a logo right beside you, Dale al botón verde. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, so that's our campaign at the moment. It's press the green button, in Espanol, dale al botón verde, which is green, the universal color, right, of Ireland, of go, which is all what we want to do now after the pandemic. It's a real tactical message to say that, we have the green carpet rolled out, we're ready to welcome back our visitors, and there's no better time than to book now. So that's really our priority at the moment. Unashamedly, it's about volume. It's about getting consumers on planes, building up the confidence, getting them back to the island of Ireland again. So this is our campaign that we'll go live across Spain in the month of April. We'll be live right through till June. So that's really to drive visitors for the spring, summer season. Spain is different compared to the other European markets in that we're a later booking market, which also offers an opportunity in itself, because especially in these in these flux times, and volatility. Well, what happens is that with those consumers who are sitting on the fence, well, they may book just closer, not like other Europeans who are probably booking, in January, February time. But pattern here is different. So we go slightly later.
Mhm.
And our campaign will consist of advertising, which is, digital out of home screens, the buses and the train stations. We'll have programmatic advertising, which is all the online, the, artificial intelligence, where our cohort or our target market, they're called culturally curious. So they're not like the typical holiday maker, because one of our first biggest competitors, of course, is Spain, because the majority of Spanish people travel in Spain.
Mhm.
But obviously we don't go after the sun goers either. That's not what the island of Ireland offers.
Not quite.
Not quite, with its 4 seasons in one day. So,
But I am interested in a personal note. You mentioned you missed the coastline, of course, but being in Tourism Ireland, what for you is the ultimate tourism not to miss in Ireland?
oh my God, that's such a hard question.
Narrow it down. Number one.
Yeah, I have to say, for me, of all the trips that I've done, which, by the way, I only started to explore the island when I left, when I was gone and I came back, and in the work that I'm doing. Really, probably for me, Northern Ireland, I have to say, oh my God, the Giant's Causeway is just amazing. That coastline from Belfast to Derry, Londonderry, is just amazing. There's stops one after the next on that coastline. You've got Carrick-a-Reid Rope Bridge, you've got the Giant's Causeway. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, well, it's a treasure for fans of the series. But I really, really was surprised on my first trip around Belfast, as well as the city, full of positivity. The Titanic Quarter is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I suppose getting under the skin of Belfast, Northern Ireland, Derry is quite emotional. It's very special and very surprising. And the people are wonderful and the food is great. So yeah, that for me, that kind of 4 or 5 day trip along the North Coast is quite fab. And I have to say, as a Dubliner, like, my biggest piece of advice, and even for other Dubliners out there, it's actually to explore your own city. The bus tours around the city are absolutely amazing, because like Dublin is not like Madrid or Paris or Rome. It's not from the outset, that kind of spectacular city that draws you in. But once you understand the history, the literary heritage, the stories, it's just, it's a fabulous city that easily competes with Madrid too. But yeah, look, for Ireland, you need at least 10 days. You need to rent a car. You need to not be afraid of driving on the left, which of course I got my driver's license over here and driving on the right. So I can be a dodgy driver in Ireland, all right. But it's part of the experience, and we're patient drivers, and it's from my years in Europe car.
It's a pleasure to drive in Ireland, to be honest.
It is, like you're just worried about the traffic jams of the sheep crossing the road more than anything else, and it happens. But easily as well, if you're not, that brave to rent a car, then the train transport system as well, or buses around Ireland is really good, that it's accessible and easy.
So I met you just last Saturday for the very first time. No, it was the second time I'd met you. That was an event that you were volunteering for, that we were all volunteering for. Does Tourism Ireland, well, tell us a little bit about that from your perspective, and does Tourism Ireland get involved in these kind of initiatives and events?
Look, so last week we were at the St. Patrick's picnic, and it was wonderful. Myself and Mary, we were the face painters, and well, I have to say, I had to practice a little bit. By the third face, there were a few dodgy shamrocks going around on the day, but I think we did a good job in the end.
Not too bad. We're pros now. After an hour and a half of face painting around Madrid, we're pros.
That's it. As a mammy of 3, the girls will have me now at home, face painting every other weekend. But look, that was a wonderful event. And yeah, Mary, I had met you before, and I only recently got involved with the Spanish-Irish Business Network, and it really came from the back of after COVID, coming back out and networking. And it's surprising, I'm here 15 years in Madrid, but I really didn't have a strong network, I would say, within the community and to meet other, people with a passion or an interest for Ireland and everything else. So the previous president, Elizabeth, I had the pleasure to meet with her. It was a few years ago, and it was a coffee chat that we had, and she told me about the work that she was doing at the time, tried to rope me in. I was busy with, I mentioned, I have 3 small kids, where you're struggling for time. But this time around with the new committee and with Nuria, and I decided I would attend the AGM, and I just really liked the vision, the values of the committee, and I felt that I could volunteer part of my time and enjoy as well getting to know other people. So I think I went around your question. I kind of forget now what your question was at the beginning.
I wanted to get on to SIBN.
I talk around,
So you've been involved in SIBN just for 6 months then, or something like that. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. Okay. That's it. So the work of Tourism Ireland, yes. So of course, look, the Spanish diaspora now, it's not that huge, obviously in the coastal areas. I've got to know there's more groups around Spain, Barcelona or Irish in Barcelona. There's another Irish association in the Costa del Sol in Benalmádena. And around St. Patrick's Day, which is really a huge opportunity for Ireland across the globe, to celebrate our heritage, but not only that, but to connect with the local communities as well. And the strength of that is really unbelievable. It's something we should all be so proud of that we have abroad. And yes, where there are opportunities, to engage with Spanish people and get them, interested in the island of Ireland, Tourism Ireland could be in a position, to support part of those events that may happen around the culture side. But the majority of our work primarily is focused on targeted advertising towards the Spanish culturally curious, so that the holidaymaker outbound market, it doesn't usually have a huge ties with Irish in Spain. However, about a quarter of Spanish people that travel to Ireland have been there before. So they obviously come back with a really sense of connection, for the destination if they go back, travel again to explore. So yeah, I think that making these connections, which is what the Spanish Irish Business Network is all about, and about celebrating those and nurturing relationships, and just celebrating everything that connects us, which, obviously Spain and Ireland have a very long history, and that's a wonderful thing to be part of. And I feel really privileged in the position that I'm in as marketing manager of Tourism Ireland Spain to be involved in the committee and to facilitate, the information that we can share, promoting the island of Ireland.
Well, it's great to have you on the team. I'm having fun so far. It's been a short run so far, but it's full on with St. Patrick's, wasn't it? And there's many more to come, hopefully. Presential meetings that we're going to be able to do with our members here in Madrid anyway. Maybe you could start grouping the Barcelona guys together when you're next down there, and then virtual events that we've got coming as well. So do you see the SIBN, any particular direction you see SIBN going for the next 2 years, or any dynamic that you're happy to go with, or changes that you want to see with SIBN? Anything in particular?
I think it's about opening it out, Mary, and this is what you said, opening this conversation today. It's about making it available for everyone and giving back, I suppose. Being here now almost 15 years, I feel at that stage where, it's relevant for me to be able to give back to others. So I would love, I feel like an L one now, but I would love the idea of anyone who's new to Madrid who feels they would like that sense of community or connection, or those like me who I wasn't involved in the Spanish Irish Business Network after 14 years and 15 years in Madrid, and only on my 15th year did I get involved. So look, I think the more that we can do in that regard, Mary, like hybrid, there's definitely a place for the online meetings, which I did attend some of them at Christmas quiz and others, and got to know people, and then where we can in person. Yeah. I think that would be great. And where there's synergies or mentoring opportunities, which is what I had with Elizabeth at the time. Mm-hmm. I think mentoring is is a really powerful way of giving back to others, and that sense
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
of community.
Spot on. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us today, Susan. It's good to become a little bit, to put ourselves out there, I think, to be in flesh and bone, not just on an email or just not a photo on a LinkedIn. So there you have Susan, from a marketing manager from Tourism Ireland and committee member of SIBN.
Thanks, Mary.
We'll be in touch, and we'll see each other soon.
Yeah, thanks. Anything that we can do from Tourism Ireland, we're always available.
Great. Thanks you very much.